Today we are going to look at how we can use geosocial data as a tenant rep for Petco to find the best pet store location in the Lexington DMA. To start off, we've got 16 potential sites from listings on broker websites pulled up here in ArcGIS. The first thing we need to do is meet some basic demographic criteria. Petco already gave us some minimum requirements for population, income, and education, so let's start with those. As you can see, that already narrowed down our search quite a bit, leaving us with about 5 sites. Let's focus on the top 3 and look at the interests and behaviors of these communities to see which one has the best overall fit for our pet store. Alright, here we have infographics pulled up for our top 3 sites. These show us the top tapestry segments, pet spending variables, and geosocial data for each location. We know that Petco is looking for communities that consist mainly of married couples in single-family homes with higher income and have discretionary money to spend on their pets. With that as our criteria, let's look at our first site, Hamburg Pavilion. From a psychographic standpoint, this is a great location. Enterprising professionals, soccer moms, and bright young professionals all describe married couples with higher levels of income and living in single-family homes. However, consumer spending on pet-related products and services is about half compared to the other 2 locations. Alright, now let's look at the geosocial data. We know logically that we want to find a community for Petco where dog lovers and animal advocates activity scores highly to ensure that our pet store fits within the community. We can see that neither of those pet-related geosocial segments are prevalent here for Hamburg, signaling that this may not be the best community fit. Let's take a look at our second location, Chino Center. The top 2 tapestry segments describe singles with lower income, which doesn't meet our psychographic criteria. However, Urban Chic does. Also, pet spending is much higher than Hamburg Pavilion, which is great. And looking at the geosocial scores, we can see that Animal Advocates scores in the 67th percentile, while Dog Lovers does not even score within the top 15 segments. Again, this location doesn't appear to be the best from a community behavior perspective. Finally, we come to our third site, Tate's Creek Center. Like Chino Center, the psychographics are a combination of good and bad segments given our criteria. Young and Restless describe singles with lower income, while the other 2 consist of higher income married couples. Pet spending is highest compared to the other 2 sites, and geosocially, this is by far the best location, with Animal Advocates at 76 and Dog Lovers in the 74th percentile, telling us that pet-related behavior is very common here. Okay, so those are our 3 sites, so which one is best? Well, with all this data before us, we can see that Tate's Creek Center is our best recommendation. Hamburg Pavilion, while meeting our basic demographic criteria and having an excellent psychographic profile, does not show great consumer spending on pets and doesn't have a high interest in pet behavior. And while Chino Center and Tate's Creek appear equal in nearly every area, Tate's Creek scores much higher for dog lovers and animal advocates. This is a great example of how important it is to take every data point into account, and specifically how geosocial data can help us make our final decision between similar sites. So, as a tenant rep, I can now go confidently to Petco with not only basic demographic criteria to back my recommendation, but data that shows how Tate's Creek has a strong pet community. And finally, in addition to the data, we find that this shopping center is hugged by a large park where people often bring their dogs. So it's something we could drive by while sharing the high level of dog lovers activity in the area. And there's also a vibrant community close by and an animal hospital already here as a tenant. And that presents an opportunity for cross-traffic and co-marketing. So all in all, this looks like a really good site for Petco. Okay, that's it. We narrowed down our initial 16 locations with demographic criteria, then dug deeper into the behaviors and interests of the top 3 using spending variables, psychographic data, and of course geosocial data. So that's how you can use geosocial data as a tenant rep.